Most AI automation freelancers leave thousands of dollars on the table because they fail to follow up. I just spoke on AI at a conference a couple weeks ago, and now I'm sending highly personalized emails to each and every business owner that attended that opted into my email list. But I'm not manually writing a single one of them. No spreadsheets, no copy paste, no 3-hour research rabbit holes. I built a system using AI and automation that researches their company, writes the email, and sends it out with perfectly spaced timing, completely on autopilot. I help AI automation freelancers go from being overworked and underpaid to landing high-ticket clients and retainers working just a fraction of the time. So this video isn't just a walkthrough, it's a cheat code for client acquisition. Whether you're following up with leads that you met or building this for someone else as a done-for-you service. Now let's dive in. Okay, so this is what we're going to be building. Basically the way it works, right now I just have it a manual trigger because I don't need it to run on a timer, but you could easily replace this with like a schedule trigger or anything else you want. But it's going to retrieve the list of contacts from my Google Sheet. So for those of you who've been asking me to create something with Google Sheets instead of Airtable, this is for you. It's then going to feed the information into my AI agent node, and it's going to include the business website and the person's name. So their first and last name, in case they're like a well-known person that there's information about them that's publicly available that the chat model will have been trained on. And then I have my very thorough system instructions, which are instructing it to draft an email, and I'll share the exact details of that later on. But basically, it's going to create an email that gives specific use cases of AI and automation for that business, for that person. And it's generic enough that in case, let's say they work at Fresno State, which is a university here in Fresno, they might be a professor, they might be an administrator, they might be a janitor for all we know. But the agent is instructed to be broad enough that it could be for any role at that workplace. And then we go into the last part, which is looping over the items so that the emails are being sent out one at a time. And there is a 4-minute wait in between each send. And that's just to increase deliverability so that it's not going out, 100 emails at a time, which looks very sus because it gives the impression that it's just a bulk mail sending, which it would be, rather than being sent out one at a time, which is what we want to do. So then it's going to send an email to that individual, and it's going to loop back around to the next individual on the list, wait 4 minutes, and then send an email, and so on and so forth until it is done. And so this is my list of contacts that I exported from Go High Level, which is my CRM. So I have first name, last name. I have this business name column, which is just blank. I have the contact's email address and then the website. So the website is just gleaned from the email address. So if it's iheartmedia.com, is the email address, then obviously the website would be iheartmedia.com. Okay, so we're going to create a workflow, and the first thing that I'm going to add is the manual trigger. Like I said, you can use a timer or anything else that you want. I'm just going to do this one time because it's going to be like a one-time send. And next, I'm going to add my Google Sheets node, and I want to choose Get Row in a Sheet. And then I already have my credential connected, but if you needed to create a new credential, you would just go here and sign in with the Google account where the Google Sheet lives. So I'm not going to go ahead and create it because it's very straightforward. But once you connect with your Google credential, you're going to hit save. Okay, so I'm going to select the appropriate Google credential. And now I want to choose the document. So my document name is CCWC Biz Contacts. And then the sheet, unfortunately, still has this janky name of File Saver, which was just the direct name that Go High Level saved it as. And then we don't need to worry about any of these filters or anything at the bottom. Okay, and now we're going to add the AI agent node. And rather than using the connected chat trigger node, we're going to select define below and then give it a prompt. So we're going to come back to the prompt. I'm just going to put hi for now. And then I want to add an option to add a system message. And so I'm going to copy and paste the system prompt that I already built. And let me open it up so you can see exactly what it says. So you're a warm, thoughtful AI research assistant helping a tech consultant, Lindsay, reach out to small business owners and professionals she met through a recent women's conference. Your job is to write short, kind, and personalized outreach messages that invite them to a free strategy session about using AI and automations in their work. So you're going to receive their name, their work email address, and the company domain. And basically, this is just an instruction saying, understand what type of organization it is. So is it a university, a nonprofit, a small business, etc. The general kinds of roles that might exist there, since we don't know the person's exact role. So like I said, this is going to be perfect for if you meet a contact, but you don't know exactly what their role is. Like sometimes you might know, sometimes they'll be the CEO or the CFO or whatever. But if it's just a general email address that you have and you only know that they work there, this is a really great way to kind of cover all your bases. So your goal is to spark curiosity and possibility, not to sell. Keep the tone warm, friendly, and approachable. So suggestions should be broad enough to be relevant across functions. And then we give the AI agent an example with HTML formatting, so it doesn't come out as just one clump when the email gets sent. It has spacing and there's like bullet lists and so on and so forth. So here's a full example, again, with like the bullet points in list format, and then with a call to action saying, if you're interested, just reply and I'll send a booking link. So we don't want to be sending unsolicited booking links to people. We're just making it a casual conversation. And then I provide this output format in JSON because I do want a structured output so that I can receive the email subject line, the body of the email in separate outputs from the AI agent. And that's just going to make the mapping a lot easier. Just some safety and fallback rules. So if the company website is missing or unclear, default to a vague but relevant use case. Do not hallucinate personal details, keep assumptions professional and broad, and always speak with warm, calm authority, not overly salesy or pushy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get some data in here. All right, and then I'm going to connect my chat model. So I'm just going to use OpenAI. I'm going to use GPT-4o. And one more thing I do want to do is I want to require a specific output format. So now it's telling me I need to connect an output parser. So I'm going to click output parser and add a structured output parser. And then I'm going to paste in my JSON example, which again has the business type, the suggested use case, the email subject, and the email body. And this is just a JSON example so that the agent knows what to refer to create the correct output for me. Okay, and the last thing that I'm going to do now that I have the data in here is I'm going to create my prompt. So the first and last name, and I'm going to put a space between the first and last name. So this is just an example one that I inserted for privacy reasons. Jane example is not a real person. And then I will also grab the website, which is over here on the left. So again, example.com is not a real business. I just inserted this row so that we would have an example to draw from. And now I'm going to change the settings. This is only for the purposes of this demo, so you should not actually do this, but I'm going to change this to execute once. And that's only because I only want that example row to get brought across here. Okay, so now I'm going to click the play button. Okay, and now I'm going to add the loop over items. And again, this is to make sure that instead of outputting, 20 or 100 different results and then all getting sent in email in bulk, it's just going to be able to filter through one at a time with a wait step in between. So I'm going to leave the batch size as 1. Okay, and then I'm going to delete that. And then after each loop, I want to add a wait step. And I'm going to put the wait step for 4 minutes. And that's, again, just to emulate a human sending these emails and not, sending them in bulk, which is going to hurt deliverability. And then the last thing I want to do is I'm going to send an email. So if you use Gmail or Google Workspace, then you can select Gmail as your node. But I use different email, and so I'm going to be sending an email from this node. So I'm going to select send an email, and I already have my credential connected. But if you are setting up your credential for the first time, you're going to need to find the instructions, and this is going to vary depending on your email provider. But it's going to ask for your username, which is like where you send your emails from, your password, which is like your password to log into your email, the host, the port, and then you want to turn on SSL TLS. So something cool that I learned is if you want to be able to control what the from, like the sent from name is, then you can put it in this format. So obviously I'm sending it from myself, Lindsay Gonzalez, and then you put these angled brackets with your email address in the middle. Because what I was running into without using this is it was just sending as Lindsay with a lowercase l, and that was it. So that doesn't look very professional. And this is the way when you're sending through an SMTP account, that's how you get around that. Okay, and then the to email, the subject, and the HTML, we're going to go ahead and loop through so that we can get the data across. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and remove this wait step for the time being, just so we're not waiting 4 minutes. Okay, and now we can map across everything that the AI agent outputted. So we're going to get the email subject and drag it to the subject line, and then drag the email body in HTML format right over here. Okay, and then for the to email, we want to go over here to get row in sheet, and we're going to drag email over from that node. So again, it's just sending to jane@example.com, but this is how you map it. The last thing that I always like to do is down here at the options to turn off the append N8N attribution. So add that and make sure that that's turned off, because otherwise it'll say sent with N8N, and I just feel like that looks tacky. Okay, so now we are ready to send the first email. So because it's being sent to jane@example.com, I'm going to go ahead and replace that with my personal email so that we can get it into my inbox and see what the email looks like. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and execute that step and then go check my personal email. Okay, so you can see it comes through as Lindsay Gonzalez, and here is the finished result. Hey Jane, it was wonderful to connect at the conference. I'm reaching out to a few women I met there to offer something I believe could be quite valuable to your work. I help small businesses like yours discover straightforward ways to incorporate AI and automations to alleviate stress and save time. I'd love to extend a complimentary strategy session to explore those possibilities together. We might explore how to set up personalized marketing campaigns, streamline appointment booking processes, and automate internal workflows to increase efficiency. Even if none of these are specific to your role, there's usually at least one area where the right tool can simplify operations and boost productivity. If this interests you, just reply to this email and I'll share a booking link. Warmly, Lindsay. So it's formatted great. It's super valuable. It's not pushy, and I'm really happy with that, especially given that it was for a fake domain of example.com. Okay, so now we know that the email is good. I'm going to go ahead and reincorporate the wait step in here, and then I'm going to connect this last empty connector back over to loop over items. So basically now the flow looks like the agent is going to send the output. It's going to loop over each item one at a time with a 4-minute wait in between, going to send an email, and then it's going to loop back to the next name on the list. Okay, and I'm going to come in here and just make sure that I go to the settings and turn off execute once. Remember, you don't want to have that turned on. Otherwise, you're only going to get one execution, and we want it to iterate through that whole list. And so the cool thing about this, like I said, is it's going to send a personalized email to each and every person in attendance. Right now, I just have it set with the manual trigger. What I'm going to continue to build is I'm going to have sub workflows. So this done node at the end is going to connect to a sub workflow, and then it's basically going to have this exact setup once again. I'm going to have an AI agent with slightly different instructions. Maybe that is going to be able to reference the last email that was sent and continue to send a follow-up, maybe with a day or 2 days in between. So they're not getting bombarded with emails. It's sending emails every 4 minutes, and then each individual is receiving an email every day or every other day. But building this didn't take very long, maybe 30 minutes total from the time that I downloaded the list of contacts from Go High Level to the time that I built out the workflow and it was ready to send. So 30 minutes to follow up with a bunch of people who are exactly my target audience versus having to do research on every email address, every person that came through, and then typing up and sending a personalized follow-up. Not only is this going to save me a ton of time, but it's going to lead to future speaking events, future partnerships, future clients, and probably thousands of dollars in revenue. Remember, most clients need 7 or more touch points before they'll say yes. And this workflow is how you can stay top of mind with those potential clients without grinding 24/7. If you're ready to shift from being an overworked and underpaid freelancer into a high-ticket, high-leverage AI consultant, click the link below and join my free school community. And hey, if this saved you time or sparked an idea, hit that like button and let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.